listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by. On the morning shift.
Anything
could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
Good morning, Sudbury. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Glad to be here with you today. Glad you can be with us. Thanks for being with us. And got a great show planned. We're right here live each and every weekday morning, 7:30 to 8:30 a.m. on CKLU 96.7 FM on the radio. Also streaming on the online at cklu.ca. And if you go to cklu.ca, there's a Radio Player Canada app logo. You click on that, you can download it, listen, and then you can take us anywhere and listen to us anytime on your favorite device. So, also, we're streaming on Facebook Live, facebook.com/Sudbury News, and youtube.com/Sudbury News, YouTube Live. And thank you, everyone, for being with us this morning. We've been gathering a little momentum here in the last little while, and looking forward to continuing that. So remember to like, share, subscribe, follow, and all of the stuff that allow the show to get to as many people as possible. So that way more people can be involved in the conversation. It is a community conversation. It's one that we're facilitating a conversation with everyone. And so, yes, good morning, Cliff. Thanks for being with us today. Glad to have you with us, and make sure to keep those comments coming, as I know you do, and feel free to chime in anytime when you have something that you wanted to contribute to the conversation, and that invitation is open to all, because everyone's got a piece of the puzzle when it comes to putting things together and trying to make sense of our weird world that we live in. Feels very weird and getting weirder all the time. We'll talk a little bit about that today after our news, weather, and sports. I just want to bring in Billy here. We're with Billy this morning. Good morning, Billy. How you doing, my friend?
Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good.
Feeling, happy to be here.
Good. You're feeling happy. I could feel it from here.
Fake it till you make it.
That's right. Fake it till you make it. That's what I love about this opportunity that we have to facilitate the conversation in the morning, because, we don't always feel energetically up to it. And Monique, good morning. Glad to have you with us. Hope you're having a great morning, just like Billy. So it just gets the mojo going, and you come in and there's all these technical things, and got to get that going, got to get the stories ready, got to get, the verbal diarrhea out and try and sound coherent. That's probably the hardest part. And sound like we know what we're talking about, which we don't always. We're facilitators here. We're going through the news from our really great journalist organizations in town. You got Sudbury.com, Sudbury Star, CTV Northern Ontario, and CBC Sudbury. So those four in particular. Then we have things, from the city, from Greater Sudbury Police, on top of that, to pad it, but everything Sudbury. And then we also talk about larger issues that do affect us from being from Sudbury. We have people who join us from all over the world who may have been from Sudbury at one time, or from Sudbury originally, or have lived here and want to check in. So we're really grateful for all you people all around the world. Thanks to our Facebook and YouTube moderators. We're thankful that you're doing your job, and just make sure to reach out to us if there's anything that goes outside of the boundaries of what we're supposed to be doing. Good morning, David. Stay safe. Yes, that's become your tagline for sure, and a very good one at that. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. We'll start off with some weather, some sports, then some headlines and some convo with all y'all right after this. Sudbury weather brought to you by sudburyweather.ca. And it is currently -3 degrees, feels like -7 out there. There's a light snow shower. I love when they use that term. Snow shower. I'm going to have to use that more often. Anyways, I'm sure it's an official term of some kind. Today, cloudy, 60% chance of flurries early this morning. The temperature steady near -4. The wind chill near -11. Tonight, cloudy. Wind will be, moderate. Low of -12. Wind chill near -15. For tomorrow, cloudy with a 60% chance of flurries. Wind up to 15 kilometers. High -5. Wind chill -14. In the morning, -7. -14 in the morning, and then -7 in the afternoon. So look at your long range, or at least your 7-day. Wednesday, -5, 6% chance of flurries. Thursday, -10, and a 40% chance of flurries. 60% chance of flurries on your Friday with a high of -3. And as we start to feel a little colder here, getting into our I guess, normal temperatures for the winter, -12 is your high on Saturday with a 30% chance of flurries. -12 again on Sunday, 40% chance of flurries there. Monday, they're saying mix of sun and cloud, but it's still cold. So starting Saturday, they're saying we're expecting some more seasonal, normal temperatures, meaning cold. So we'll talk a little bit about that, how it affects the Ramsey Lake, the paths to go skating and all of those things, and the hockey tournament coming up on the Rock. It's called the ball hockey tournament. Look at your satellite. Very cloudy, clouds everywhere over all of northern Ontario. And that's your weather. It's brought to you by sudburyweather.ca. We'll be back with some sports and more right after this. All right, Sudbury Sports, brought to you by SudburySports.com. That's Randy Pascal's website where he reports on everything Sudbury Sports. He is that Sudbury Sports guy. SudburySports.com is his website. The Greater Sudbury Cubs headline, damn the Rapids with a 6-0 road win. And a couple of goals from Billy Biderman. Hope I pronounced his name correctly. And a goal and a couple of assists from newcomer Caden Laverdiere. Hope I pronounced that name as well. So propelled the Greater Sudbury Cubs to a 6-0 victory over the French River Rapids on January the 22nd. The win improves the Cubs' record to a league best 33-6-2-0, which give them 66 points on the season. Sees them continuing to lead the Northern Ontario Junior Hockey League ahead of Timmins Rock, Hearst Lumberjacks, and the loss drops the Rapids record to 6-31-1-1. The win also helps ensure the Cubs remain ranked by the Canadian Junior Hockey League as 7th best club in the nation. The Cubs are back in action at home on January 26th against the Sioux Eagles. The puck drops at 7:05 at the Countryside Sports Complex. And then they hit the road, and they're on the Sioux against the Sioux Thunderbirds on January the 28th. So again, January 26th, so not tomorrow night, but the following night, and then Saturday night. So that's Thursday night and Saturday night, I believe, if my math is correct. Anyway, Sudbury Cubs continuing their winning ways. I can't believe it. Pretty darn cool. Ranked 7th in the league. And then Sudbury Wolves will be in action. Let's see. Friday night, January 27th, right here in town against the Windsor Spitfires. Then in action the following night on the road against Owen Sound. And then Sunday against the Guelph Storm. So they got a busy weekend ahead of them. We'll talk more about them in upcoming episodes this week. and they'll be back in town. The next home game, other than this Friday, is a rematch against the North Bay Battalion. They lost 2-1 last game on Sunday in the third period, unfortunately. So they'll be back in action this Friday, and then the following Wednesday against the Battalion. Those are the two next home games, but they got 3 games in a row, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So hopefully they're not too tired and they'll be able to pull out some W's there. Interesting story with the Sudbury Five, with their coach Logan Stutz, was manhandled by a member of the London Lightning, which is pretty crazy. And that was at their last game. They beat the London Lightning. It says London Lightning guard Chris Jones has been suspended for the rest of the 2022-2023 National Basketball League of Canada season for an altercation with an opposing coach following the team's season opener last week. Now, if you remember last season, a similar thing happened. I was at the game, and the coach was fired up, and he was like attacking players and stuff, Sudbury Five players, and on the court, and wanted to fight them and stuff. This guy's interesting. The 6-footer from Memphis put his hands on Sudbury coach Logan Stutz in the dressing room area at the Budweiser Gardens after the Bolts fell 86-83 to the Five in a rare home defeat. Jones had been ejected along with Sudbury's player late in the first half for engaging in a skirmish near the Five bench. See, this is exactly what happens with this coach. It's interesting. The NBLC fined and indefinitely suspended Jones, later clarifying that his punishment will last the remainder of the season. So the league commissioner said, "We have an emotional game and the level of competition is high. Sometimes those emotions can boil over. That said, there's a line drawn in how far things can go, what is accepted. Obviously, it was not condoned, and that's why these actions were taken." This isn't the first time, as I said, I was at the game when this happened, when the 31-year-old Jones was the subject of a high-profile ban. Just last year, he was suspended 6 games for an on-court tirade with London in Sudbury here, where he threw a water bottle onto the court and spit on an official after receiving back-to-back technical fouls. The Lightning brought him back for the postseason, and he was a key starter in the game's undefeated run to the championship last spring. That option won't be available for the Bolts this time. We accept the league's decision. London GM Mark Faria said, "It is what it is." The league used Jones' past history as a factor in the length of his suspension. Stevenson says Stutz was a little shaken up, but is fine after the incident. We want to make sure we maintain the image of the league as a family-safe product of entertainment for everyone. And we're thankful the situation didn't get worse than it was, and the situation we take seriously. And in the 11-year history of the league, I can't think of more than 2 times where something like this has remotely happened, and it's with the same player, the same team. The Five are off to a 4-0 start, and then they're in action next Friday in Windsor. Okay. Next in action Friday in Windsor. So this Friday, I believe, in Windsor. Okay. Rock and roll. That is your sports, brought to you by SudburySports.com. That's Randy Pascal. He is that Sudbury Sports guy, and his website is SudburySports.com. We'll be back with headlines, Billy, and all y'all's comments, and all the news and issues that we're looking at that happened yesterday and going into today as soon as we come back. Okay, we are back, and Billy is bringing his energy to the game. Speaking of sports and speaking of energy, It sounded good at the arena the other night at the Wolves game. I just want to let you know that.
Oh, well, it's good to hear. Thanks.
It sounded incredible, actually.
Hmm.
Like
Well,
everyone was,
I'm always trying new things, and I will mark that in my little book that was a good night for sound.
yeah, everyone that was there commented how, you know, since the last time they were there, how good the sound was this time. So,
Awesome.
including myself.
Well, appreciate that.
Yep. So Cliff says he wants to know what happened to the sun we were supposed to get all day yesterday. LOL. Yeah, exactly. Well, there were some people who said it was going to be sunny, but I was highly skeptical of that, and we didn't get any sun. Doesn't look like we're
Hmm.
getting any sun anytime soon either. So crazy stuff with the weather going on out there. I don't know.
Yeah, it's January. Don't set your expectations too high.
Yeah. Yeah. Never have expectations when it comes to the weather, especially when you live in Sudbury, especially in the winter. And yeah, crazy stuff. But anyways, yeah, I just wanted to say sound was great at the game. It was great. It was a 5-2 victory. It was an exciting game. I just now who controls the actual music being played? I know you do the sound, but who's doing the actual music? That's not
Yeah,
you, right?
it's different people.
Doing the songs.
Yeah, yeah. I
Okay.
think it wasn't the usual guy that night,
Okay.
so it's a new guy getting trained.
Interesting. Okay. Well, then that's fine. Then that's good. So we
Yeah,
got that down, and that's okay. It's good to have more people trained because you can't always have
you did.
the same
Yeah,
person coming out. You know.
yeah. There's a lot of overlapping parts, and you'll see someone who was at this job one night is now kind of forced to jump on the other job because
That's funny.
someone couldn't make it.
What about the live acts? Are we looking at any live acts coming up that you know of? Remember how they had the stage there and they had performers?
They have John Felsman. He plays the organ there sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there might be. I don't know. Yeah, there's usually live acts. I've only been there for a little bit now, so
Okay.
haven't really seen much in terms of that.
Because they have the MIC stage there, right? So they're
Hmm.
hoping to have some acts. Speaking of acting, I guess there's a story to start our day right at the top of our Facebook feed. And interesting, you can attend clown school in Sudbury this summer. No prior performance experience is necessary. So you got a picture of a few people putting on their clown faces. Just wondering, like, what would be you go to clown school, like what benefits would come from that? I don't know.
I don't know. I guess you have to sign up to find out.
Clown school. Let's see. I'm very curious. So
Pretty good. I imagine if I went to it, I would probably emerge much improved on the other side. There's something I'm sure that would be, you know, it'd break a person out of their shell, I think.
yeah. Well, this is One North Clown and Creation, I guess is the name of the organization. Provides performing arts training and creation tools anchored in the principles of Pachinko or Pachinko clown. Does that ring a bell to you at all? Pachinko clown?
No,
Okay.
no. I like the name because the game Pachinko.
Yeah.
Is it spelled the same way? It's like the little ball bounces around and it's a
Oh,
very
okay.
sort of sporadic looking.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's like Japanese gambling. You buy these balls and you go to the arcade, and then if it
Oh,
lands in a little thing, it makes a big noise, and you get more balls, and then
oh.
you bring them in. They're like chips, and then sometimes you walk out with more money than you came in.
Pachinko. Doesn't that sound like roulette or whatever? Like the roulette wheel, the ball bounces. You pick red.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is much more fun and exciting, though.
Oh, more fun and exciting. I always love that.
Yeah,
So I guess it's a pachinko clown. It's a kind of a type of clown, which are taught and utilized to develop and expand the creative playgrounds of its participants. One North follows in the footsteps of the Clown Farm on Manitoulin Island. I've never heard of the Clown Farm on Manitoulin Island, so I'm learning something every day. And the work of its
that's a
founder, John
TV
Turner.
series that just pitches itself.
I know. The clown farm. You sure that isn't Parliament on CPIC?
Yeah, I think it's getting honed down. I think you're onto something.
Yeah. Okay, so the training can be applied on a personal or professional level to all forms of expression, artistic or otherwise. No performance training is necessary. They welcome all experiences of life from all who are all over the world. 19 plus, though. You have to be over 19. That's this summer. Following workshops are to be offered, and they go through all the workshops. Well, I guess,
That's pretty amazing that it's free. How do they do that?
I have no idea. I have no idea at all. But anyways, they're able to do that. If you want more information or would like to subscribe, you can visit the Canada Council website for more information, I guess, on how it's funded. Canada Council, that's how they're able to do it free.
A grant, I bet, yeah.
And then One North Clown and Creation.ca is the website, or the email is clownandcreation@gmail.com. If you're interested in being a clown, now a lot of you might have already been told you are a clown. Now's your time to be official. You get a certificate. Jungle Jim says half the drivers in this city should attend. I don't know what that really means, but I guess our drivers are a bunch of clowns.
I get where he's going.
Okay, so Greater Sudbury Police from I don't know. The stories don't really jive. This isn't a funny story per se. One could say from one clown story to another, but I wouldn't say that myself. Greater Sudbury Police nabbed disgraced teacher, sex fugitive from London. Teacher ducked court when he was set to be sentenced for sexual interference, voyeurism, possession of child pornography, and production of child pornography. Here's the gentleman here. Little picture. If you're on the radio, you can't see him. He just looks like an ordinary guy. The family of a student who was sexually abused by her high school teacher is relieved he has been arrested in Sudbury after nearly a week on the lam, says the family's lawyer. A judge issued a bench warrant for Dustin Epp, he's 48, on January 17th after he didn't show up for court when he was supposed to be sentenced. Jail time was expected for the former physics and computer science teacher at London's Oakridge Secondary School, whose offenses involved a student and dated back 3 years. Police issued a missing persons report for Epp hours after he missed his court appearance, saying they were concerned for his welfare, citing social media posts mentioning self-harm. I guess that would definitely be, something that on his end would be, because of all of the media exposure of this, be pretty tough for him too, right? Like how is he going to deal with all of this stuff? So, it looked like he was making posts on social media saying he wasn't dealing with it rather well, and he was possibly going to do some self-harm to himself. The Crown is opposing bail and said it would seek a reverse onus, meaning the defense must argue why detention isn't justified. Justice of the Peace ordered Epp to appear in a London court on Friday and instructed him not to communicate with the 7 people involved. Yeah, so that's kind of interesting stuff there. Now he's at least in custody, and he can let the law kind of do its course and get all the facts and charge him accordingly if he is indeed guilty of those crimes. Terrible if he is. That is definitely not cool. But what is cool, Billy, is they've found a home for that moose from the Windy Lake Provincial Park.
I was very, very happy to see this headline. This poor says it was lost soul was motherless. Isn't that doesn't hit you in the feels, as they say.
Yeah.
So I guess it's Wildlife Center,
Okay.
and hopefully find some friends there.
I would think so. Okay. It says
Think
here,
that
Cliff.
was,
I just want to get to Cliff's comment here. Just
yeah.
sorry about that, but he used to work with your predecessor back in the early 2000s when he was
Oh,
Howler.
nice. All right.
So now, Cliff,
Yeah.
are you saying
Well,
you
a lot
were?
of respect. It sounded
Yeah.
like he was Howler.
Are you saying you were Howler, Cliff? Are you like revealing your identity at this point? Um, I didn't know. Is that part of your contract? I thought you were supposed to keep that on the down low. I didn't know you're ever supposed to reveal that in public. But if you were a Howler, that's pretty cool. You got to be a certain personality type to be Howler. Wouldn't you say, Billy? Could you pull that off?
No, I don't think I could pull. Maybe after clown school I could,
Oh,
but as it stands right now, no.
yeah. That's crazy. Well, that's awesome, Cliff. Um, this moose now, remember they're saying is kind of aggressive or whatever. It was probably just looking for a motherly figure, like somewhere to call home, like that's
Well,
probably
it
what
could
it
have been
was.
angry too,
Or yeah,
Don't
like
know.
where's my mom?
Yeah. You don't
Yeah,
have the proper upbringing.
no. My dad tells
Someone to show you the
everyone.
way.
Cliff says my dad tells everyone he meets. I think the cat's out of the bag. That's awesome. Right on. Former Howler. That's what you're going to be known by from now on, Cliff, on this show. Former Howler Cliff is with us today. That's awesome. Yeah, so I guess we're all type of an alumni in some form or another, being somewhat associated with the Sudbury Wolves family, right? In different ways, which is cool. Laurentian University is hiring. So we kind of expected this, that eventually they'd have to hire some new blood, right? I'm not sure why it didn't get through the commercials yet, but that's just kind of odd. It was already playing. But Laurentian University is now started hiring some new professors after their insolvency, and CTV has the story. So let's check in here, Billy, and
All right.
we'll just break it down right after.
Laurentian administration says it has budget approval to hire 10 new professors, saying this is a signal that the school is making investment in long-term sustainability of the institution.
It's about rebuilding, and part of that process is faculty renewal, which is absolutely critical to supporting really our mission and all that we do.
The funding for the recruitment comes as a university worked out a deal to emerge from creditor protection back in November. Laurentian's Faculty Association is encouraged about the new hires, but feels this should only be a start.
These 10 positions are not filling all the gaps. And as you mentioned, we can expect after the 2023-2024 budget process is over, that many other faculty positions will be announced.
For now, the search is underway for faculty members for the following positions: Faculty of Arts, Faculty of Education and Health, Faculty of Science, Engineering and Architecture, Faculty of Management, Library, and Archives. Colin says the morale on campus has been low amongst staff over the last few years. He's starting to see a shift with the new administration.
Critical that we see a change in the culture at Laurentian University, so toward more transparency, more collegial governance, so consultation in the future.
Bauer says the new hires will help with research capacity at the school, and she says administration hopes to have approval for more positions following the 2023-24 budget, which is currently being drawn up. Ashley Bacon, CTV News, Sudbury.
So one of the things...
Turning a corner.
Yeah, they're turning a corner, exactly. And we kind of expected this anyways, but one of the things I thought, do you think that we really learned our lesson kind of thing, and or do you think it's just gonna? There's a tendency we could just go back to the way it was.
That's a good question. There's probably some people who went through a bit of a dark night of the soul there, but yeah, as a society, I think that might be what they call that. That there might be a pattern. There might be more in that archetype that emerged as sort of too long without transparency, kind of getting kind of blown open like it was. But yeah, I have a feeling that's going to be a lesson in the future, looking back on this era, as it will sort of be the emergence of the need for transparency in these larger institutions.
Yeah, that's what I get the sense too. I don't know if anything is really. I think it's at the core of like the ideology of how things are managed. Basically, it's just going to end up in the same position. Now, again, I don't know. I don't think it's going to go bankrupt again myself, but I don't even think universities, by and large, that are running properly, there's a lot of scrutiny that they should come under with, in terms of, like you said, transparency, accountability, like anything in our society today. I guess that's getting less and less, even though we should have more and more with our technologies and things.
Yeah. And I think even the public, is kind of realizing maybe we have a set of assumptions that we sort of get exposed to reality, and we're like, oh my gosh, I thought there was more adults in the room on this situation. And these kind of large immovable rocks meeting up with unstoppable forces, and these big things are happening. So it seems like that's kind of pervasive throughout society right now, where people are getting a little bit of a shock to the system.
Yeah, system for sure. It's transparency. You got the what happened to Laurentian, and then in order to change and get different results, you got to do different things. And I just don't know if there's going to be too much difference going on there. They're just going to go right back into the same, right? Because it's all they know how to do. I just think we went overboard here. I just think we went extreme from the way most universities are handled anyways, which if you look at governments too, the governments, whether municipal, provincial, federal, there's all kinds of weird things going on that are not transparent. And I guess this was just, one that went a little too far, a little too fast. And that's what you can see. I think that's what we see in our future if we keep going the way we're going in terms of governments as well. You just have to look at the stock markets all-time losing, and it's not even headline news. We're getting record-setting days. They say nothing was worse since 2008 in the stock market, stuff like that. When you start saying stuff like that, and then they just gloss over it in other news, holy crap, that's huge news financially. And
yeah, but I think the problem is, and I think it's probably done kind of intentionally by maybe different factors, factions, agendas, but it's just it is flooded with so many pieces of information and so much. I hate the term misinformation, because that's really, you could describe anything with that, but let's just say low quality information, or very deliberately whatever information. But
well, we've come to know now is if the information doesn't agree with our point of view, it's called misinformation. That's what I've come to see. I don't know if you see the same.
And we've just seen a couple of years where everything that was labeled misinformation turned out to be true.
Yeah.
And everything that was supposed to be true is actually misinformation. So it's completely spun on its head.
Oh, yeah. We live in a crazy world, Billy. It's very crazy. You're going to get crazier, too. Speaking of crazy, and in the city, you can expect traffic delays due to light signal upgrades. And so there's one of the comments here says, if they were done at night, there'd be no delays. What a concept.
I see some cities doing that, and
Yeah.
it just screams brilliance.
And then
It probably
Cliff,
does cost more in a way because
Yeah.
you got to pay those people, compensate them for working at that untimely hour.
yeah, or there can be construction companies that want the business and say, we'll pay the same thing, but you got to do it at night, and then they bid on the contract. But again, there's hardly any construction workers because our economy's
Jeez.
taken a hit because of the way we handled the past 2 or 3 years in the craziest way to handle things. So economically, we're feeling that there's not enough workers anymore for things like this. So yeah, you're going to pay top dollar. So Cliff says maybe whoever thought of the timing on the new lights on the 4-lane passing in Zilda was adequate should be made to fix their mistake. I'm not familiar with that one myself. That's probably because I don't take that route. But yeah, why would you put lights on a 4-lane passing lane? That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. You're gearing
I'm sure
up
if
to
you
pass.
saw it, you would go, "Oh yes."
Yeah, you're gearing up to pass someone, and then you get a light. Give me a break.
Well, that's the worst when there's no cars like waiting at the lights and you're coming down a long straight stretch and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
it's green, you're the only person on the road, and then all of a sudden it turns red.
I know. Pretty
What?
crazy. Well, here's the places that you can expect these kinds of delays. I'm just going to show this on the big screen so everyone can see it. They're doing light work with the. So despite this effort, the city has issued notice that motorists can expect some delays in the following areas. I'm just going to make the screen bigger here so everyone can see it. So you got the dates along with where they're taking place. So January 24th through January 30th. It looks like LaSalle and Barrydown mainly. And I also had
The only thing about the timing, are they just adjusting the timing or is there a new technology involved? Might they have cameras to gauge if there's traffic coming in one way?
Yeah, just says upgrades.
Not that
and
I don't
equipment.
trust governments. I'm just wondering, is there a Trojan horse element there? Is this a way to get cameras in there without actually putting cameras in the headline of the news articles?
It says modernizing.
Okay.
Whatever modernizing means, you're not going to find out from this article anyways. Modernizing its traffic signal system, the upgrades equipment, the traffic signal systems with technology to help the city improve signal timing.
That sounds like government speak for sure.
The technology to modernize the traffic signal system will help the city improve signal timing. We're not sure how. We're not sure why it needs to be improved. What were some of the problems we were seeing with the old system? But the latest round, apparently they're doing rounds of this, are going to be LaSalle and Holland, LaSalle and Roy, LaSalle and Atlee, Barrydown and Lillian, Barrydown and New Sudbury Center, Hawthorne, Gemmel, Westmount, Gary, Auger, all those intersections. And Cliff was saying the yellow on those lights is way too short. Yeah, because you're driving fast on the 4. And he drives tractor trailer, even doing the speed limit, and had to lock up the brakes just to make the stop. Then there's the fiasco where if a train goes by, oh no, and the gates go up, it will give the red on the highway, even if it's just turned green 5 seconds ago. Crazy. Yeah. This brings up a good point. I've always thought, if I was to meet the person in charge of lights and light timing in the city, I originally thought, I would just, I would have a temptation to punch him in the face is what I wanted to say, but I didn't know if I wanted to say that. But it's just
That's harsh.
Sunday night, I'm driving on Notre Dame, and it's Sunday night at 9:30 at night. Sunday night, 9:30, Notre Dame. And it's stop, start, stop, start, stop, start, stop, start. It's all timed as if it was rush hour or something. And I don't even know why in rush hour they're timed like that. I want to know why lights are timed the way they are. It's not timed to have a good traffic flow of a city to allow the economy to go and allow people to do their thing. It's not. It's very counter that. And you would think, are they using safety as a reason why it's stop, start, stop, start? It really helps the gas companies make more money, helps the mechanics make more money for brakes and wear and tear on your vehicle. I don't necessarily know all the reasons, but the whole stop start thing isn't a Sudbury thing. It's an everywhere thing, but it's a thing that I think they go overboard on for no reason whatsoever. And yeah.
You think they're all linked up, or are they kind of like on their own independent?
They're all
and it
linked
just
up.
sort of like a random chance that every so often that happens, kind of thing.
I think as far as I know, they have the ability to change it at any time to be random or to be linked, because they're timed different at different days at different hours. So when you're driving downtown at 3 a.m, they're not timed the same as a Friday afternoon at 3. They're timed
Maybe
a whole
that's what
different
this
time.
technology that they're implementing is. Maybe it was kind of the old way before.
Let's hope so.
And
Yeah.
maybe that guy's going to the city saying, "Look, we
Good.
just need a little more money, and we could have a nice flow." And they're like, "Well, no, that's good enough."
Let's hope so. And no, I would never punch anyone in the face. You know that, Billy.
That's good to hear.
I could never do that
I can't imagine you would.
unless I was boxing. Okay, so the path on Ramsey Lake is now open for the season. Can you believe that? It's
January. Yeah, that's. I can
Ramsey-
believe a lot of stuff, and that's one of them.
Ramsey Lake Skating Path is open for the season. The city's Greater Sudbury announced Monday. The path's hours of operation are Monday to Friday, 4 to 8 p.m., Saturdays from noon until 8 p.m., and Sundays from noon till 6. Just to confuse everyone. The Ramsey Lake Skate Patrol will be available for assistance during hours of operation. The path is for skating only. Hockey, ringette, and shinny are not permitted. The path is approximately 1.5 kilometers long from the Sudbury Canoe Club and the corner of the Elizabeth Street and McNaughton Terrace to Science North, with the extension to the Northern Water Sports Center. The Ramsey Lake Skate Patrol will be available to provide assistance during the hours of operation. Due to weather fluctuations, hours of operation may change without notice.
Have you skated that path?
I have. It's nice.
Pretty awesome, eh?
It's pretty cool. It's a nice day out, Like
Yeah,
it just,
I used to do that all the time.
yeah.
I actually ended up kind of going to Kivy Park. I think I like that even more.
Yeah. Do they have a
It's,
skating thing
two
there? or
different
just trail?
experiences, but skate path through the woods.
So they do have a skating path on Kiwi Park?
I don't know if it's ready this year. I haven't heard anything
Oh,
about it, but
interesting.
yeah, typically.
Wow. I did
And
not know
yeah,
that. Okay.
if you like skating down hills, it's super fun.
Nothing's better than that.
Pretty much.
They have that extreme sport where they do that too. It's like obstacle courses and things, and they're constantly going down this huge hill.
It's a very light version of that.
That's awesome. Okay, I'm not sure where we went here, but there we are. Wanted to get us back online. Sudbury letter. The city needs staff to properly deliver services. Okay. I like to share the Sudbury letters because it's people's views of what's going on in the city, and I think a lot of times they have cool things to say. One has to wonder.
They took the time to write a letter. Should get it there.
Exactly. One has to wonder. This is from the Sudbury Star. One has to wonder how we can maintain service levels if we cut back our hiring of needed staff when current employees retire. Okay, that's interesting. In the thick of the budget deliberations, one of the items for consideration is not to replace City of Sudbury employees as they leave or retire. I have definitely generalized. I I have difficulty generalizing this practice as a money-saving proposal in this year's budget, and here's why. One has to wonder how we maintain services levels as we cut back our hiring of needed staff when current employees retire. I know the answer to that. Do you, Billy?
No, can you rephrase that?
So he's having this person, I don't know he or she, but having a hard time understanding how we can keep services if we're going to not replace people after they retire in the city.
Automation.
That is one. Training on being more effective and efficient at your job. That's another one, possibly. No?
Sure.
Have you ever been by a construction site and you see 4 or 5 city employees and there's one of them with a shovel? Have you ever seen that before at all?
I have seen that.
Yeah.
But
everyone
to be fair,
has.
that's a tough job.
Okay.
To be shoveling consistently for 8 hours a day without taking.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah,
well,
that's
I appreciate you giving the opposite view.
Sometimes you got to wait for the guy with the wheelbarrow to bring the load of gravel to dump before you can do your job. So there's a little bit of logistics that could explain that too.
Yeah. So this person basically says they think that it's impossible to not do more with less people, which I think is something that can be done. Now, is it possible if you don't make drastic changes and you just say, okay, we're just going to do things the same way we did, but with less people, we're going to send 4 people out construction site, and one of them's going to do the work. You got to have a driver, and then you have to have the supervisor of the driver, and then the supervisor to the supervisor of the driver, and they all need to go and inspect the site. And then it's like, look, you got to streamline the amount of people that you have to save money. Then you have to streamline the way you do things. And there's holes everywhere. There's not just the amount of people working. That's one. It's like the 1% theory. If you improve 1% on every aspect, then you can have exponential improvement, right? So there's the way you bid on a job, the way you look at it, there's savings there. How many people need to be involved? There's savings there. Do we have too many administrators? There's savings there. Do you need a boss of a boss of a boss of a boss? Do you really need that? Can you cut out one boss in that chain? Really? Like, there's a lot of bosses going on. That's one of the main reasons why Laurentian found itself in the position it was. So it just not cool. So yeah, no, there are ways that you can cut the amount of people working and still offer services, and even better services. If you look at every aspect, and an audit of the city needs to happen. We need to have an audit of services, an audit of finances, an audit, period. It needs to happen. I know our new mayor says that's a waste of money. Obviously, why would you think he would say it's a waste of money? Billy, the floor is yours.
Well, I could actually think that that's kind of a waste of money, that it's kind of been through that. It's kind of streamlined. I don't know.
Yeah.
Again, being as a person who doesn't know, and without maybe somebody or at least a couple people involved in it that can relay the reality of the situation on the ground there to me, I think an audit is the only way that I could probably get an actual understanding without actually looking at all the stuff myself and deciding to my own personal satisfaction if that was the case.
And there's enough people that are passionate enough in this city. And I know from talking through the election, interviewing a lot of the candidates and things like that, and then just people in general, people are very to the end of their rope on a lot of things in the city. They're really upset, and they were done with the last city council, and they're hoping the new city council will bring a little breath of fresh air. However, they're skeptical. Now, an audit would show where we're at with all these things, but it doesn't need to cost money. You could probably find somebody who you can put a thing out there saying, is there anyone who's qualified? We don't want someone who's not qualified, but that would be willing to volunteer their time, their talents, and their energy to doing an audit of the city so it doesn't cost the city money. And this person would be a hero. They'd be like, wow, they're offering their services for free. You know?
I don't know about that.
But
It's one
there
of those
are.
things too. The perception is like, I think I would inherently be a little bit skeptical of that even, you know.
But let's say they had the credentials. How can you be skeptical, though, at the same time? Their
I can be
credentials.
skeptical very easy.
Well, anyone can be. But what I'm saying, it's possible not to cost money and have someone do it, is
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
I can't. It seems unrealistic that someone could actually. That's a huge job like that.
Yeah. But that's how much
I don't
people
know
care.
how much that costs, but that would cost, I think, a
Yeah.
lot of money to get professionals, a team of professionals, without sketching out somewhere on it.
Yeah. But there's a lot of passionate people out there that really do care about the community they live in, and they care about it that much. And there are people out there who volunteer of their time and talents in many different ways for many different causes. And I don't think that would be one that would be off the table for
An
certain
interesting,
people.
interesting experiment for sure.
And I think it needs to be done. I think look, all these things are not transparent, and we're being told things that we know they're not transparent, and there can be cost savings, and there's decisions that were made that people shake their heads at in the city. And so an audit would just make it's like mathematics. 1 + 1 is 2, regardless of how you look at it. An audit would just show things as they are. So they are. So the city
I
spent,
think they're not totally objective. There's a little bit of subjectivity.
there can
Like
be,
you could have,
you're right.
someone from a different political party come in and do an audit, or even ideology, and you might end up with, if you had two different organizations doing an audit, would they come up with the exact same presentation at the end?
Yeah, exactly. Now the city would have to have I think it says Q hole HR overhaul. Does that make sense? And audit? A hole. Sorry, a hole. Just the Q is there by accident. So the city would have to have a hole.
There's a typo there. I wonder where he's going with it.
That's the problem with reading comments, when we're typing fast, wanting to get them up in time. And then I'm trying to read them. Anyways, and I'm trying to read them from YouTube, which is even harder. So Miles is chiming in, says the city would have to do a whole HR overhaul and audit, as job descriptions and duties would have to be changed, and huge battle with the union over. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, too. So there's a lot
of complications.
Be hard to do. But if you had a bunch of volunteers coming in, just volunteering their time and efforts to help out, at least it would get the ball rolling, and it would provide these unions with enough, information to then negotiate with and say, we just can't afford these particular people. Anyways, it just goes to show how possibly hopeless one would feel with the system that we have in place. Systems.
Yeah. We need some ingenuitive thinking.
I know. It's crazy. I think we are going to get an overhaul. And I don't even know if I agree with the overhaul we're going to get. So here I am saying we need drastic change. And then there's more than likely going to be a drastic change coming in the future, which I probably won't be for. I don't think it's going to be done in the correct way. But I guess drastic is what it's going to be. Speaking of drastic, Sudbury police investigating an armed attack on a new Sudbury trail. Sudbury police are asking the public to avoid the area around Grandview Park. This was yesterday, by the way, so I think it's probably different by now. I looked for updates. I couldn't find any, but they're probably, during this show, they're probably updating us in various media outlets, local ones. Grandview Park in the new Sudbury area yesterday afternoon, as they track the assault suspect. So I don't have any more on that. Unfortunately, there wasn't any more that I could find up until this morning. There was an accused impaired driver that crashed with a toddler in a vehicle on Highway 17. 31-year-old Sudbury woman was accused of impaired driving and is facing several charges following a single vehicle crash on Highway 17. on Saturday. Many comments coming through our, Facebook page on this one. So sad. People never learn until it's too late. She should lose her license and maybe even her child. What will we be reading next time? How sad. And a toddler in the vehicle, exclamation point. Probably her first time and won't be her last. Very sad. So those are some of the comments.
Hopefully it's her
coming through.
last. Sometimes you
Yeah.
have these events where it's like all of a sudden it's like you get a good sort of reflection of yourself when after something's like, oh my God, I've let it go this far. It's like I really need to clean up my act.
Exactly.
So.
And then Miles gets the last word from commenting. Change in the city is way more lawyers get involved, meaning more thousands being spent. Correct. So yeah, I guess we ain't going to have change. That's what it's, I guess it looks down from the sources above. No change. Speaking of change, though, Cambridge College wants to help combat cyber crimes. And so they have a new program for a graduate certificate being offered that will help teach students how to prevent cyber crime so they can get out into the world and help fight cybercrime. Now, tomorrow, we're going to talk a little bit more about Natalie Labby, who's Ward 7 counselor in the city council. She shared a story with me from a person in Aurelia, a homeless person who has decided to take medical assistance in death as a way out of poverty and homelessness. And I appreciate Natalie sharing that with us. She knows we were talking about that at length on the show, and I'm really grateful that she shared that article. So that'll be coming tomorrow. We'll talk a little bit about that in our deep dive. But thanks, Billy, for being with us today. As you know,
Aaron.
many thanks, and many thanks to everyone commenting today. Make sure to like, share, follow, subscribe, and spread the conversation so we can have more people involved. And stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU 96.7 FM. We'll be back same time, same place tomorrow, right here. And have a safe and wonderful Tuesday night, everyone. Ciao.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.